The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
A very good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Dr. Swamiji Chaudhary. I'm a senior pharmacovigilance expert working in industry for last 4 years. So, I'm a medical postgraduate from University of Sheffield School of Medicine, United Kingdom. So, today we are going to talk about various aspects of pharmacovigilance, right from career scopes to the various avenues of pharmacovigilance. So, I think most of the guys who have assembled over here are quite aware of the term and concept of pharmacovigilance. At least you have heard of it, isn't it? So, to start off, I would like to say, pharmacovigilance is defined as the science and activities relating to the detection, assessment, understanding, and prevention of adverse effects or any other drug-related problem. Now, as you can see, like in the very definition, it suggests that it's a science and it's all the involved activities which are related to the detection, assessment, understanding, prevention of adverse effects. So the key term over here is adverse effects. Every now and then you will find that the drug, whether it might be a drug in the clinical trial or a post-marketed drug, often on you will find that there are side effects. You know this term. I think each one of you has come across this word. So basically, pharmacovigilance is the scientific entity which actually deals with the entire management of the adverse effect or any other drug-related problem. Any other drug-related problem, I mean to say, it includes lack of efficacy as well. It's not that the safety of a drug is important; it's also the efficacy of drug is important, because each one of us buys the drug because we want the efficacy of that particular drug. If the drug is not efficacious, it's of no use. The drug might be safe, but if it is not efficacious, it's of no use to the society, to the individuals as a whole. So pharmacovigilance, as you can see, it's not only it directs towards the adverse effect, it also takes into account the other drug-related problems like lack of efficacy, and there are other few aspects as well. So in the definition itself, you can find that pharmacovigilance has to do with the adverse effects of drug and also certain other aspects of drug, like drug-related problems. So I'd just like to touch upon a brief history of pharmacovigilance. World Health Organization WHO established its program for international drug monitoring in response to the thalidomide disaster detected in 1961. So there was a adverse event related disaster in 1961 with the drug thalidomide, there's pecomelia and all. So the World Health Organization got sensitized and felt the need of establishing a program for international drug monitoring, because they could realize that until and unless a particular organized program is framed, the adverse effects of the drugs, cannot be monitored in a systematic manner. Together with the WHO Collaboration Center for International Drug Monitoring, Uppsala, which is located in Sweden, WHO promotes pharmacovigilance at the country level as well. So WHO is actually the central head, and it operates through its centers based out in various countries. The pharmacovigilance centers based out in various countries. In India, we also have a pharmacovigilance center. We have got DCGI, we have got PVPI and all. So we have also got pharmacovigilance center. At the end of 2010, 134 countries were a part of WHO pharmacovigilance program. So these are for your knowledge purpose. It's not that you need to memorize all those things, but I've just shared these facts so that you can understand on what basis the pharmacovigilance came into being and why it has become so important in the public health domain of public health domain of almost all the countries in the globe. Now, what are the goals of pharmacovigilance? There should be some specific goals, you know. So the first goal to ensure the rational and safe use of medical drugs. Now here the key terms are rational and safe. So it's not that the safety of the drug has been taken into account. The rationality behind the administration of a particular drug has also been considered. Second point, to enhance patient care and patient safety in relation to the use of medicines. So you can see that pharmacovigilance, the goal of pharmacovigilance is not only patient safety, they also consider and they also strive towards the enhancement of patient care in relation to the use of medicines. The goal of pharmacovigilance is also to ensure the assessment and communication of the risk and benefits of drugs on the market. It's not that it will take into account the patient safety, it will take care of the patient safety. It has also the onus of ensuring the assessment and communication of the risk and benefits of any drug on the market. The goal of pharmacovigilance is also to educate and inform patients and public, because until and unless awareness is raised among the public, the ultimate goal of pharmacovigilance will become null and void. So pharmacovigilance also strives towards the education of patients and public related to the adverse events of drug. So these are the four main goals of pharmacovigilance, as you can see, and these are of utmost importance for the successful, these are the four pivotal points for the success of pharmacovigilance. Until and unless these 4 points are met, the goal of the pharmacovigilance won't be crowned with success. What are the aims of pharmacovigilance? Although these are quite synonymous with the goals, but there are subtle differences as well. So the aims are early detection of hitherto unknown adverse reactions and drug interactions. Now, there are various adverse reactions which doesn't come into fore during clinical trial. So in post-marketing scenario, because of pharmacovigilance activity, we come across so many unknown adverse reactions. We come across so many unknown drug interactions. We come across so many, unknown food and drug interactions as well. And these interactions, these adverse reactions, which were not known during the clinical trial of a drug, comes to fore during its post-marketing. So these are of utmost importance, because until and unless the adverse reactions, until and unless the adverse events caused due to the drug interactions are addressed, the aim of pharmacovigilance is not going to be 100%. The aim of pharmacovigilance is also detection of increases in frequency of known adverse reaction. If it is known that a particular event occurs with a particular drug, but pharmacovigilance also take into account whether the frequency of the known adverse event has increased or not. Because if the particular adverse event, the particular known adverse event rather, the frequency get increased, then of course then it's a signal in pharmacovigilance domain. There's some risk minimization steps should be undertaken. Then there is identification of risk factors and possible mechanisms underlying the adverse reactions. Now there are certain predisposing factors, to the adverse events. So pharmacovigilance also aims at identification of risk factors and also tries to detect the possible mechanisms underlying the adverse reactions. The aim of pharmacovigilance is also to estimate quantitative aspects of benefit risk analysis and dissemination of information needed to improve drug prescribing and regulation. Now you can see this is also a very key term. Quantitative estimation of the risk benefit. Now every drug has got its risk as well as its benefit. So we need to weigh the risk as well as we need to weigh the benefit, and we need to detect the risk benefit quotient, because until and unless the risk benefit quotient of a particular drug is detected, we won't be able to figure it out whether the drug is beneficial towards the beneficial towards mankind or it is harmful towards mankind. Suppose if a drug, for example, for say alopecia, I mean hair loss, if a drug is being used for alopecia, hair loss, but if after the administration of the drug there are several cases of gastrointestinal hemorrhage reported, so then you can see that the benefit we get is like the cure of alopecia, but the risk is quite a dangerous one from the medical point of view, because gastrointestinal hemorrhage is a serious medical condition. So we have to take into account the benefit and the risk, and we have to analyze the risk benefit quotient, and which is actually a quantitative estimation most of the times. So, and we also need to disseminate the information gathered with respect to a particular drug to improve the drug prescribing and regulation. Because until and unless the cumulative information which has been gathered from various sources, and once the analyzed information is shared with the various stakeholders like prescribing physicians, regulatory authorities, the very aim of pharmacovigilance won't hold good, because whatever we have collected, whatever cumulative information we have gathered from various sources with respect to the benefit and the risk, we need to share it with various respective stakeholders. The aim of pharmacovigilance is also to support public health programs by providing reliable, balanced information for the effective assessment of the risk-benefit profile of medicines. So as you can see, pharmacovigilance also supports public health programs. Now, all over the globe, pharmacovigilance has become an alarming and a vital domain. Not only in pharmaceutical industry, it has become of utmost importance in the public health programs all around the globe, because it ensures patient safety as well as it ensures better cure. So you can see the aim of the pharmacovigilance is also to support public health programs. How they are going to support the public health program? Now this is a key thing. They provide reliable and balanced information. And what is the role of this balanced information? It helps in the effective assessment of the risk-benefit profile of medicines. So you can see it leads us to effectively assess the risk-benefit profile of the medicines, and which is very essential, because safety profile is one of the parameters, but risk-benefit profile of medicines are of utmost importance, and it has become a very important factor nowadays. Now, everything in the world is need, and as it is said, necessity is the mother of invention. So, what was the need for which pharmacovigilance came into existence? There are manifold reasons behind the increased need of pharmacovigilance across life science and healthcare industry, such as unreliability of data from preclinical safety studies. Now, preclinical safety studies, they are not able to, deduce all the data, all the required data. The preclinical safety studies might not be, able to deduce all the reliable data related to the safety of a particular drug. So, through pharmacovigilance, we will be in a better position to get a more reliable and a more robust data collected from the post-marketing experiences related to a specific drug. Because this is a more generalized scenario, this is a more real life scenario. Because you can see when in preclinical safety studies, it is most of the time done in animals. In clinical studies as well, the drug is administered to human beings, but to a limited number. But whenever a drug is launched in a market, it is getting exposed. It is getting exposed in a wider domain. People from all over the globe, irrespective of community, religion, and geographical barrier, they get the drug, and you come to know what is the effect of the drug in various geographical regions, because the genetic makeup of the people in different geographies are different. So how the drug reacts, how the drug acts upon different people in different geographical region is also of utmost importance. A particular, I would say, statin, like atorvastatin or rosuvastatin, whatsoever, the statin will act in a different manner in, say, North America, and it will act in a different manner in Asiatic population. And we have come across several instances where we can find that the same drug has acted a bit different in a in a one set of population, and the same drug has acted in another way in a different set of population. So these things are of utmost importance when we are going to analyze the risk and benefit of a particular drug, taking into account a particular geographical region. Now, if we are going to change the pharmaceutical marketing strategies, pharmacovigilance is also a key element. We can sell our drug in a better way if we can put forward the pharmacovigilance quotients. We can say that from the data we have from the data we can deduce that this drug is safer than that drug. From where we will conclude that one drug is safer than another drug? From the pharmacovigilance data collected from various sources. It might be from spontaneous source, it might be from case reports, it might be from literature source, it might be from clinical trials, whatsoever. But if we can collate the data and if we can put forward the analyzed factors, then we can change the pharmaceutical marketing strategies, and we can sell the drug in a better frame. There are varying preferences of patients and physicians. The preferences changes. So pharmacovigilance cater to that as well. It cater to the varying preferences of patients and physicians. There has been increased and easy accessibility of drugs. So the pharmacovigilance is of utmost importance, because increased and easy accessibility of drugs is one of the things that needs attention, and pharmacovigilance always play a definitive role in this respect. But the first 2 points are of most vital, I would say, because you can see the first point I have elaborated a bit more, because you can see unreliability of data. That's a very key point. Means we don't have reliable, we do have data, but we are not very sure of the data from the preclinical safety studies. But in a pharmacovigilance study, we have a more definitive set of data, and we have a more from where we can deduce more definitive conclusion. Now, what are the scope of post-marketing surveillance? Apart from pharmaceutical products, the scope of post-marketing surveillance has also been extended to vaccines, traditional and complementary medicines, blood products, which is called hemovigilance, biologicals, medical devices, and herbals. Also to mention, post-marketing surveillance is also done in veterinary products, although this is totally a separate entity, but I have just mentioned to stress on the importance of post-marketing surveillance. Nowadays, post-marketing surveillance has become a very key segment in the healthcare and life science industry, and by degrees, the importance is getting increased. Actually, I would say day by day, the need for pharmacovigilance has been on the rise. It is actually increasing by leaps and bounds, I would say. What are the other relevant issues if we want to discuss in the pharmacovigilance purview? Substandard medicines. Every now and then you will come across these things, substandard medicines. So those things are also taken care of in the pharmacovigilance segment, although some other departments also play a role, but pharmacovigilance is one of them. Medication errors. The medication errors, the reports of medication errors, these are also addressed in the pharmacovigilance department of a pharma company. Lack of efficacy reports. As I have already mentioned, I would like to cite one example. Suppose a vaccine. Now, you have been given a vaccine. You say the vaccine has been safe, but the very aim of vaccine, which is to induce immunity, that was not up to the mark. Say after this vaccine, for disease for which vaccine is administered, you are still having that disease. So, as you can see, although the vaccine was safe, but vaccine was not efficacious. So, lack of efficacy with respect to vaccine, with respect to oral contraceptive pills, if someone says, even after the administration, even after taking oral contraceptive pills, someone got pregnant, then this is a lack of efficacy. So lack of efficacy reports, these are also being considered in the pharmacovigilance domain. Use of medicines for indications that are not approved and for which there is inadequate scientific basis. Pharmacovigilance also strives to find out new indication for a particular drug. Now from the pharmacovigilance data, we can see, say, a particular drug which is being used for an unapproved indication is the results are quite positive. Now we can have a trial for the same drug with a different indication. Say amantadine, which is an antiviral drug, but the same drug is used for anti-Parkinson. So you can same drug, different indication. So from pharmacovigilance data as well, we can find out that if a particular drug which was earlier not approved for a particular indication, now it is being seen that the results of the administration of a drug for that indication is being positive, then definitively we have a chance to find another indication. Pharmacovigilance also take care of case reports of acute and chronic poisoning or acute poisoning of a drug because of overdose, intentional overdose, accidental overdose, whatsoever. Assessment of drug-related mortality, abuse and misuse of medicines, adverse introduction of medicines with chemicals, other medicines and food. So, drug-drug interaction, food-drug interaction. So, these are also being considered in a pharmacovigilance segment. But lack of efficacy reports, medication error, poisoning, new indication, these are of utmost importance so far as pharmacovigilance is concerned. Now here I have mentioned certain, withdrawn drugs, as you can see. So you can see these drugs are quite, known, famous and effective, but they had to be withdrawn because of the adverse event caused by those drugs. So the very first drug I would like to mention is rosiglitazone, which is anti-diabetic drug under the brand name Evandia. It was withdrawn because it involved risk of heart attacks and death. This drug continues to be available in US, although Tagacerar, risk for heart attack, stroke, unstable angina. So you can see Tagacerar had cardiotoxicity. It was available through a restricted access program until April 2008. Rofecoxib, it was also cardiotoxic, and also the risk of stroke or cerebrovascular accidents happened with this drug. Risk sibutramine, it was also cardiotoxic, and it was reported to increase the risk of cerebrovascular accidents or stroke. Serivastatin, in the name of Bacol, after the administration of this drug, Servistatin, there were several reports of rhabdomyolysis. So this drug was also withdrawn. So you can see rosiglitazone, rofecoxib, these two drugs were of, they were quite famous drugs. They were quite known and widely prescribed drugs. But just because they had cardiotoxic potential, they were withdrawn from the market. So that's what you can see. Although the drugs were beneficial, but they involved more risks rather than benefits. So they were withdrawn. Now, I'm going to talk about like a few other aspects of pharmacovigilance, like who can join PVG. Till now I have talked about pharmacovigilance. Now I'm going to talk about what are the auxiliary aspects of pharmacovigilance, not related to pharmacovigilance directly, but one should know, like before joining pharmacovigilance or before taking up a career in pharmacovigilance, whether he or she is eligible enough to join it or not. So you can see pharmacy graduates and postgraduates, they can join pharmacovigilance. Science graduate, like life science graduates rather, and of course medical graduates and postgraduates, they can also join pharmacovigilance. Science graduates, life science graduates will find it a bit easier because they have dealt with the things. Because science graduates means physics and chemistry as well, but I would like to suggest like science graduates means the life science graduates, like biotechnology and all, they would find PVG more close to whatever they have done till date. So this particular diploma program is postgraduate and executive diploma in clinical research, pharmacovigilance, drug discovery and development, and medical writing. These are available in various modes: regular, part-time, distance cum e-learning. And if you want to know more about these programs, if you want to know about the duration, if you want to know in a very detailed fashion about this program, you can contact IGMPI. So the contact information you can see, like Miss Nisha Chauhan, you can jot down the email ID and you can just drop an email to them, or else you can place a call to them. They'll be more than happy to help you out. But just at the fag end of this presentation, I would like to say a few things. Like, although your qualification, although your degrees, no doubt they are going to help you out in your pursuit, in your career pursuit rather. But at the end of the day, it's your sincerity, it's your knowledge which is going to pave the path for your future success. So if you want to join PVG, make it sure that right from the day one, you should have the thrust to know the things properly and to know the things from A to Z. You cannot say I don't know this thing or that thing, because in industry, you need to know the things in a proper fashion, in a more comprehensive way. Because during exam, you might have, skipped one drug, you might have skipped one thing and you have fared well. But in industry, there is actually, you cannot, hide your ignorance. It's very difficult. So it is my, advice to all of you, like, if you have made up your mind to take up a career in pharmacovigilance, you need to know the concepts first, precisely, and also correctly. Two things are very important: correctness and preciseness. So these two things are very important. You need to know the guidelines, and guidelines are already written. You cannot exercise your creativity in that. Of course, you can exercise creativity in other segments of pharmacovigilance. Also, your analytical mind is going to help you out. But at the end of the day, it's your knowledge, it's your sincerity, which is going to help you excel in this particular form of career. So with this end, I have come to the end of this particular presentation. Hope it has widened your frontiers, and hope it has helped you in your understanding of what pharmacovigilance is all about. In case you have any queries regarding this particular thing, you can jot down those email ID and number. You can contact those persons. They will be more than happy to help you out. And if you have got any queries regarding pharmacovigilance per se, then you can ask me right at this moment. And if you have got any query regarding the pharmacovigilance course, you can contact those Miss Nisha and other respective individuals. Okay, but if you have got any query regarding pharmacovigilance per se, you can raise your hand and you feel free to ask me. But bear it in mind, please clarify your concepts, because this is a golden chance that you are sharing the platform, and you have been given a chance to attend this webinar free of cost, so you should reap the benefit. So yeah, anybody out there who has got queries regarding pharmacovigilance, yeah, please. So the first question I can see is from Periyaswamy Kupuswamy. He says, how can we monitor all preclinical trail drugs in research? Now, see, preclinical study doesn't come under pharmacovigilance. It is done in R&D. It's preclinical, as the name suggests. Before the clinical trial, once the drug has been developed, they go for preclinical studies, also safety studies in various animals. So that's a different thing. How can you monitor preclinical studies is out of the context of pharmacovigilance, because you can see I have already mentioned what is pharmacovigilance all about. Pharmacovigilance means from clinical trial to post-marketing surveillance, and it would be very difficult to monitor all the preclinical trade drugs in research, because until and unless those drugs are being administered in human beings, it would be the data, it won't be that authentic. So hope it would suffice. Now, what are the adverse effects of arthritis? I don't think adverse effects of arthritis. It should be what are the adverse effects of anti-arthritic drug, I suppose. And psychiatric, there are manifold. Like psychiatric drugs, there are so many classifications of drug, right from suicidal tendency to hepatotoxicity, renal toxicity, so many. Arthritis drugs also, there are huge classification of drug. So arthritis drugs, they are also, they might cause gastritis. One of the very, now if you use steroids for arthritis, then steroid induced cataract, steroid induced diabetes, so many. So n number of adverse effects with, but your question, I don't think it's correct. It should be adverse effects of anti-arthritic drug and anti-psychotic drugs. Psychiatric drugs has got no meaning, and you should be very particular about these concepts and terminologies. Nothing called psychiatric drugs. Okay. Arthritis is a disease per se, so you should mention, what are the drugs which are being used in arthritis and all. The databases used in industrial PV is, there are various databases like VGBase, Argus, ARISD, so many. So Ankush asks, is it possible to join pharmacovigilance with M-Pharma in quality? Yeah, of course, definitely. Yeah, pharmacovigilance and pharma qualification, yeah, definitely, you do have a chance. Tamanna, like the career in medical writing, career in medical coding, clinical research, all the careers you can thrive so long you are sincere and you are, you can maneuver your talent. As I've already said, you are the best person who can decide which career you should go for. But you should take into account what sort of persona you are. If you are, say, very fond of traveling, you don't like desk job, then you should go for clinical trials operation, then you will be able to travel various places. If you want to have a desk job, you should go for medical writing. Pharmacovigilance is also most of the times is a desk job. So you need to see what type of persona you are and which career would suit you more. The best judge is actually you. And these are the various careers, of course, writing and pharmacovigilance and clinical research. You can go in any one of those, but before that you need to know what do you want from your career, what do you want to see after 5 years, 10 years. So you need to judge it from a very matured standpoint. It's not that you should judge those things in desperation. No, you need to judge the things in a very rational manner. You need to judge the things with a very sound mind. So think about it, you get me, and then decide which career you should live upon. And once you have decided, then of course you need to have a vast knowledge about that particular profession as well. Narrative writing in pharmacovigilance is actually the case presentation. So if I would like to say a patient of 55 years old came to hospital and the doctor prescribed him paracetamol for fever, and after some time it was found that the patient was having rash. So you can see that this is the entire narrative of what happened during the entire course. The patient came, the doctor prescribed him paracetamol for fever, and after the administration of paracetamol, the patient was having rash. So this is adverse event. And after some time, after the withdrawal of the drug, the rash disappeared. So this entire thing, the narrative writing, in pharmacovigilance. This is narrative writing. Of course, de-challenge, re-challenge, case comments, company comments. These things are also included in narrative writing. The narrative writing will come to know once you have an access to the software database. Over there, there are certain spaces, certain slots where this narrative writing is captured. Yeah, MSc Zoology, Pharmacovigilance, I haven't come across any people because most of the time in industry, MSc Pharma, they're, but if you have got a good background and if you got a good understanding of the drugs and if you can fare well and if there is need, you might be hired, but most of the times, it's like the pharmacology, they are preferred a bit more. Or also like masters in biotechnology, they are also preferred because they do this, they have knowledge of vaccines and all. So this is how. So Amrita is asking how to start it. So as I've already stated, like if you want to get into pharmacovigilance, if you want to take a career in pharmacovigilance, you need to know the concepts. And to know the concepts, you need to, you know, it's not knowing the concepts, is also awareness of getting acquainted with the right concepts, getting acquainted with the right concept, getting acquainted what the industry is all about. You might read the entire guideline, you might read all the guidelines, but at least you need to know what is required in the industry, how you can pave the path towards your success in the industry. So all these things, for that you need to, not only you have to act diligently, but you have to act smartly. It's not that hard work is going to help you. It is also the smart work, because in today's world it's not only the hard work, smart work also helps you out. So you need to know the things correctly, of course, by dint of your hard work, but you also need to apply those things in right context. Basic knowledge required to enter in pharmacovigilance field, of course, I would say B Pharma, you can say bachelors in pharma, they are also bachelors in biotech, they have also been hired in industry. So, basic knowledge, but the thing is that you might be B Pharma, but at the end of the day, you need to know the drugs. You should have a correct understanding of the classification of the drugs, because for a freshers, people, wants to know whether the particular individual is acquainted with the drugs or not. You need to know the latest drugs. You need to know which drug has been withdrawn, which drug has not been withdrawn. What is pharmacovigilance? What is the need? So all the pharmacovigilance concept, you need to have a good grasp. Until and unless you have it, then it will be a bit difficult for you to find a position in pharmacovigilance, because things are getting competitive day by day. Although there is tremendous scope in pharmacovigilance, but of course there is tremendous competition as well. So it's kind of, the medical coding is the question. Somebody that will be there will get a job in yeah. Amrita, as you have asked me, like you did a course in medical coding and you're not getting any job. So that's a different aspect altogether. I cannot comment upon what is the scenario of medical coding. But of course, there are lots of scope in pharmacovigilance. If you can know the things well, and if you can perform well in the interview, then definitely you will end up with a job. Because there is tremendous scope in pharmacovigilance, particularly for the life science graduates, pharma graduates and all. And once you have a job, and if you perform well and if you live up to your full potential, then of course you will definitely have a bright future, no doubt about that. But before that, you need to know what you want from your career, and why do you want to see after 5 years or 10 years. I'm just emphasizing on these points, because you should not judge things in a desperate mode. You need to judge the things in a rational mind, with a rational mind. So think about it, give it a second thought, and if you feel like that you want to take up a career in pharmacovigilance, of course IGMP is here. People are here to help you out, no doubt about that. So I think I have addressed almost all the queries you have, and I would like to request all of you to go through the basic concepts of pharmacovigilance, develop an understanding what pharmacovigilance is all about, and try to uh, judge your persona and judge your personal traits, and from there on you can find that what kind of role you want to play in your future. It might be clinical research, it might be pharmacovigilance, and so on. There are ample amount of scopes. And if you have any query regarding the course materials, if you have any query regarding the duration, you can directly contact by mail or by phone to IGMPI. Miss Nisha is here. She is going to help you out. You can drop an email or you can directly place a call to her. She will be more than happy to help you out. Hope you have gained from this presentation, and hope this presentation has helped you to develop a better understanding in pharmacovigilance. But at the end of the day, it's you who is going to pave the path of your success. We are here to help you, but at the end of the day, it's you who is going to pave the path of your future success with your endeavor. So best of luck to all of you, and have a great weekend ahead. Thanks a lot.